So oftentimes on the show, I've made the point about conservative ideologues that they don't seem to have any policy solutions. So in other words, their idea is to berate people that they disagree with until those people do what they want. So just to give one example here, look at Bill O'Reilly and look at what he says about poverty. He makes it clear that in his mind, it's always the individual's fault, and there's never any systemic issues to address from a policy perspective, which is why he hates when the Democrats try to do any kind of anti-poverty program. He's against all of them, because he views it more as, they just got to get their shit together and they're lazy. That's his mindset. And without fail, whenever I discuss this, some conservative on Twitter or elsewhere tweets me, and, they say, well, that's not true, or you're misstating it. Okay, well, today it's game, set, match. Because somebody had the brilliant idea to go back and read Jeb Bush's 1995 book called Profiles in Character. And it's full of this nonsense and that narrative, that way of thinking. So in a chapter called The Restoration of Shame, Bush said the following, quote, "One of the reasons more young women are giving birth out of wedlock and more young men are walking away from their paternal obligations is that there is no longer a stigma attached to this behavior. No reason to feel shame." Let's pause here. Dude, you made that up. You made that up. Where's your, did he quote a study? Did he mention any expert, any researcher, anything? Sociologist, anything? No, he just proclaims it. Classic. This is conservatism 101, modern day conservatism 101. Say some shit, don't back it up at all, and then get mad when people disagree with you. Motherfucker, you didn't prove anything. You just said something. That doesn't count as evidence. One of the reasons more young people are giving birth out of wedlock is that there is no longer a stigma attached to this behavior. Really? I think there's quite a stigma attached to that behavior. All you got to do is say it, and that's enough in the conservative bubble. He says, many of these young women and young men look around and see their friends engaged in the same irresponsible conduct. Their parents and neighbors have become ineffective at attaching some sense of ridicule to this behavior. There was a time when neighbors and communities would frown on out-of-wedlock births, and when public condemnation was enough of a stimulus for one to be careful. Now, here's why this is extra stupid. What really is the answer to a problem like unwanted babies? Maybe condoms and the pill and Planned Parenthood and comprehensive sex education and abortion, for example? So in other words, all of the things that the Democrats believe in and the progressives have called for, that's the solution to the problem. But what's his solution? He doesn't have a solution. His idea is, I just want to berate these people. I just want to say shame, shame on you, shame, shame. So in other words, it's all about you and your feelings and you getting off on feeling morally superior. That's what it's about. While you actively block every policy that would actually help the situation. And then not to mention, I don't want to get too deep into this, but not to mention, there is a decrease in birth rates across the board when you have a society where more people are in the middle class. So you have NAFTA, you have GATT, you have the WTO, you have all these free trade policies that are outsourcing policies that get rid of all middle class and manufacturing jobs in America. People get hammered, birth rates go up, and he blames the people. But if all the policies that you supported weren't put in place in the first place, we'd have a stronger middle class in America, and it's been proven that when you have a stronger middle class, there are fewer births. So, again, I know this is all over his head because these are facts. He would rather just, do the stupid, me no like single mothers, shame, shame, shame. How about shame on you for shaming them? As if they don't have it hard enough. There's zero sympathy from Republicans. They're incapable of looking at a situation through the eyes of somebody else. They never think, Jeb Bush never thinks, well, what if I was a single father and I was struggling? Wouldn't I want people to be kind to me and to give me help and to be open-minded? He never thinks like that. It's always just, they're not me no like them. Shame, shame, shame. What a fucking jackass. So Bush goes on to say, you know the book The Scarlet Letter? We should, do that. dude, that wasn't, like, the idea was not that that's positive. You put the scarlet letter on somebody and it's like, yay, we did it! No, we look at that now and go, oh my God, that's incredibly cruel. But he's like, no, I loved it, shame people. So he's not done yet, though. He said, American schools and the welfare system could also use a healthy dose of shame. Quote, for many, it is more shameful to work than to take public assistance. That is how backwards shame has become. Again, give me any study, give me any example other than listening to fucking Sean Hannity radio shows and Rush Limbaugh radio shows. That narrative is fucking made up. We've spoken about the fraud rate, the abuse rate, and the waste rate in programs like food stamps, for example, where they say, oh, it's being abused because people are lazy, they don't want to work, they just want to get free food. The fraud rate is 1%. So in other words, 99% of the people taking food stamps are just families that genuinely need it. And by the way, a lot of people who are getting government assistance work full-time. A full-time job doesn't pay enough money so that you can survive without government help. How are you going to blame somebody for just trying to make ends meet when they're working a full-time job and the job doesn't pay them enough? You should be mad at the job itself. You should be mad at the company for not paying a living wage. But he can never get mad at companies because that's his buddies. He's part of the establishment. He loves those guys. He sees them at the country club. He can't be mad at them. He's got to be mad at the poor people. And then on criminal justice, he said this, quote, in the context of present-day society, we need to make kids feel shame before their friends rather than their family. The Miami Herald columnist Robert Steinbeck has a great idea. He suggests dressing these juveniles in frilly pink jumpsuits and making them sweep the streets of their own neighborhoods. Would these kids be so cavalier then? Oh, man. That's it. I'm calling it now. Jeb Bush is on the same intellectual plane as George W. Bush. He's not a smart guy. He's a stupid person. That's your answer? That's how you solve the problem of crime in America must be stopped. How do we do it? Make the inmates wear pink dresses and sweep the streets. Okay, look, let's make a deal. Fine, let's do that ridiculous idea. How about we start with everybody on Wall Street who crashed the economy and, as a result of that, millions of people were kicked out of their houses because of predatory loans where the people on Wall Street did fraud and they got rich as a result of it. They did a bigger crime than anybody who's ever robbed a liquor store or anything like that. So, okay, deal, let's shake on it. Let's have the criminals wear pink dresses and sweep the streets. Let's start with your brother, Dick Cheney, you, and everybody on Wall Street. How does that sound?